Now, at the crucial meet on India's response and COVID-19 response and evaluation of lockdown, Prime Minister tells chief ministers that policy needs to be drawn to exit the lockdown. Prime Minister tells states to start working on a strategy based on level of COVID-19 spread in particular regions. Some CMs asked for an extension while others suggested a staggered exit with different levels of restrictions. Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik pitched for at least 1 month more for the lockdown. Let's quickly go over to Paulmi Saha joining us for more on this. Paulmi, big indications on the status of the lockdown in various states. We understand that 4 chief ministers have asked for a lockdown extension, including that of Meghalaya and Odisha. This virtual meet had discussions between the Prime Minister and chief ministers on whether or not to relax lockdowns in certain areas which are better off than the red zones. What more do we know, please?
Well, we have received information as to how, the chief ministers, most of them, 4 chief ministers at least that we know, who have advocated for an extension of the lockdown. Now, the Prime Minister is also of the view that, the situation continues to be very critical and sensitive. Yes, India has comparatively done very well as opposed to certain other nations who were in a similar position at the time at the start of March, probably like India, but India with the imposition of the lockdown in 2 different phases has been able to contain the spread of the virus to a large extent. But then, of course, we have to think of the exit strategy. Yes, primary will be healthcare, and he has emphasized on the same as well. He has said that, social distancing and face masks will become the new normal right now. But then, of course, we have to think about exiting the lockdown, and states have to concentrate on how to turn their red zones into orange zones and orange zones into green zones. He said, yes, the economy needs to be paid attention to as well. We have to balance it out. So the economy is also, kept afloat as opposed in comparison to the healthcare measures that we're taking as well. But he said that he is of the opinion, that's the sense that we got from those who spoke with us after the meeting, is that he is of the opinion that the health aspect of this emergency comes first before the economy. India has a robust economy, he seems to have said, which can withstand a bit of a hit, and it will withstand the same. But the health emergency needs to be paramount, and that is what he seems to have focused on as well.
Right. Do stay with us. Let's quickly go over to Rahul Srivastav. Rahul, we're looking at a lockdown indication, whether or not this lockdown will be extended. We hear that Prime Minister indicates that the lockdown, depending on different states and the severity, could be eased. Of course, it's all at the discretion of each state chief ministers. If the state is worse hit, then it will remain under complete lockdown. Those which are relatively better off will be able to have a staggered exit. It depends on the states. District-wise relaxation has been indicated here.
Since morning we have been speaking about exactly this, that it will be a much more federalized kind of a arrangement post-lockdown 2.0 after May 3, though there are demands by some chief ministers and states that the lockdown period should be extended. And sources are still indicating that it may not be that lockdown may be nationally lifted altogether, but it might be lockdown 3.0 with different degrees of easing of restrictions coming in. And that seems to be the wider picture. Perhaps one line which can be called the mantra from the Prime Minister in this meeting was the element he talked about, the 2 gaz duri, means a 2-yard distance. That should be made the norms. Masks should become the new normal. And that's what the Prime Minister indication is. He has also talked about the fact that the economy cannot be ignored, and the states have already voiced their demand for all those elements. But the larger picture which seems to be emerging is that when the Prime Minister says that lockdown has had positive impact, and he has asked states to convert red into orange, orange into green, is an indication that the Prime Minister is telling the states that a lot still needs to be done. And a lot still needs to be done in converting the hotspots for containment into areas which can be allowed certain amount of eases from as far as restrictions are concerned.
This was
That's
a crucial
what might be the
meeting.
formula eventually.
A crucial meeting here between the Prime Minister and the Chief Ministers. We understand the Prime Minister has told CMs that a policy needs to be drawn out to exit this lockdown. He is said to have told Chief Ministers to start working on a strategy based on the level of the COVID-19 spread in particular regions, and CMs have been asked to file a report as well on how they're going to go about with a staggered exit in different levels with different restrictions. And Odisha Chief Minister there says at least 1 month more it can be extended.
Navita, yes, the Prime Minister has basically asked for a wider view, a more detailed report from the Chief Ministers. They have to come up with suggestions on how exactly is going to be their effort as far as a staggered exit from a lockdown is concerned. If we see last time around also the states had submitted their suggestions, but more of them were suggesting that there should be an extension to the lockdown. But this time around the picture is different, and states like Kerala and others with a much more robust system. And in fact, if you see, the Prime Minister has talked about in this meeting about a rapid response system. That rapid response system element, when the Prime Minister talked to the Chief Minister, is about the fact that if there is a certain easing of restrictions as per the guidelines released on April 20th, then the states will have to be prepared for any kind of an exigency in which, just in case there was a green zone where economic activity started and certain outbreak has happened, how the states will respond to all that. And that's what the government will look at in the next 1 week's time before the deadline for lockdown 2.0 ends. The government will look minutely at all the inputs which are coming in from ICMR, all the ground reports which are coming in from states. And remember, it's not just the state apparatus which is going to send reports to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has set up his own mechanism. There are various other entities which are looking into it. All that feedback will go into an assessment by the Prime Minister and the PMO, and then a final decision may be announced. What one can say is, it seems from what Prime Minister talked today, that a lockdown may not be a completely lifted, but might be more restrictions coming in the way.
Right. We're looking at partial lockdown with a staggered exit. The areas that are worse hit will remain under complete lockdown. Those that are better off will have some sort of ease with restrictions. Meanwhile, Rahul, Congress MP there, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, has said that India is in a better position compared to the United States and other European countries. He also says that the centre and the states are doing quite well. We're looking at people across party lines, across political parties coming together in this fight on COVID-19. Let's take a listen at Congress's Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary lauding India's efforts.
हिंदुस्तान की सरकार, हिंदुस्तान की राज्य की सरकार, हमारे जो डॉक्टर्स, हमारे सारे प्रतिष्ठान बड़े अच्छा काम किए हैं। नहीं तो जब हम अमेरिका को देखते हैं, यूरोप को देखते हैं, तब पता चलते हैं हम उन लोगों से बहुत आगे निकल चुके हैं। मौका अब हमारा हाथ में लग गए हैं। हम अगर इसी मौके को सही ढंग से इस्तेमाल करने में कामयाब रहे तो सारे दुनिया में, सारे विश्व में हिंदुस्तान आगे निकल जाएंगे।
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.